Hi, everyone. Welcome to Love Happy Talks on the soul relationships. And we are still waiting for others to register um, and come in. But I would like to thank the first people who are watching us right now. Thank you for being with us tonight, and thank you for being on time. In this discussion, you'll be able to learn the various kinds of soul relationships, how to recognize one, and how to manage it in such a way that will help you create a deeper and more meaningful relationships. I'm Mae Seracarpio. I'm a love coach, an intuitive, an energy healer, and soul guide. So with me is one of the pioneers of Love Happy, and I will show you a picture of him. He is also a love yourself advocate and volunteer, Kurt Silvano. Hi, Kurt.
Hello, everyone. Hi, May. Thank you so much, and it's good to be part of this event. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Okay, so thank you very much, Kurt. And I'm glad that Kurt is here because Kurt is going to make our discussions even more interesting.
I hope so. I hope so, May.
Yeah. So, and even to make this this discussion more interesting, Kurt, I'm giving away some online voucher, and I would like just show it in a. There you go. In a few minutes. Now you can see it.
There you go. Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
So, that's really interesting. Now, I think after this, for tonight, now we'll be raffling off an online soul reading voucher to one lucky participant. It's so
yeah. So it's a 1 hour session where anybody can ask about anything, about your soul, your past lives, your soul relationships, and more. It's usually worth around 2,500, and now we're giving it for free. So stay tuned on how to get that.
Wow, I'm really excited. Hope I can also win that voucher.
Yeah, I guess you already we had this reading the last time. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. How was your experience of it, Kurt? The last time that we had this kind of reading.
I think it really makes sense. Like, I'm really excited to still explore what's in store with me in this lifetime, and I think I'm really excited. So whoever wins this free voucher, please take and grab the opportunity to ask everything that you would want to ask.
Okay, so thank you, Kurt. Kurt and I, we met how many years ago? 4 years? 5 years ago? Was it 5 years ago, right? We met actually in an online, in a computer or a programming organization called PHPUGPH, which was usually do events with partnered with Microsoft Philippines, and then shortly after we became friends. Yeah, so he was one of those people who believed in me when I started love coaching my practice 4 years ago. Remember the time, Kurt?
Yes, I actually remember that time very well, May. And it's for me, it's kind of life-changing event, and I'm so thankful that I was able to met you and some of our folks as well from PHP and GPH. I've been very close to some of you, and I think I will really reminisce all the events, all the learnings, and even the just really helping me out to be aware of about love, talking about intuition, and a lot of stuff. So for me, those memories are really being treasured, and I thank you for being my friend.
Aw, So I would like to show this quite a bit. Remember this? This was the first ever Love Happy Talk we ever had. It was in Astoria. Um,
Oh,
yeah. So you see that? So these were all the yeah. This was kind of all the gullible. No, no, they're not gullible. They're good single friends like Kurt, who were curious enough and who trusted me enough when I was just starting and participated in something I've never been done before. And so where's Kurt here? Kurt, you're here. Yeah. And
yeah,
then
I was
there's
there.
you see, there are more guys than girls. Isn't it a bit surprising, right? There's more guys than girls in this picture. It's it's quite I mean, this was a very very memorable experience. And in that, I gave a presentation about romantic attraction. So, and the first question I ever asked was, "What is your single status at that time?" Yeah, right. Remember that, Kurt?
Yeah, I actually was blown away by that because I never knew that being single, you're talking already of being single as a status, and then yet you still have kinds of status for being single. It's kind of like confusing, but it's not really.
Yeah, that's true. And there's like a lot of different. There's different kinds of singles. So did you remember what kind of did you remember what kind of single you were at that time, Kurt?
Well, single and happily, what, looking?
At that time, you were single and happily looking. I think there were also people who were single and but not really proactive. That was the driving point of that presentation of what kind of single are you. But now I would like to ask everybody out there who's watching us, if you can comment on the Facebook, you can comment on the, if you're registered in Webinar Jam, you can comment as well. If as to what is your relationship.
Right,
So this
status.
are you I will run by the choices, Kurt.
Sure.
By you. Okay. Are you happily single and still searching? No, no. Are you single and exclusively dating someone? Yes, no.
Uh, Not really exclusively dating, but yeah, dating.
Okay. So are you in a committed loving relationship?
Well before.
Yeah, recently.
I
The
I
next
think that those are the choices for them.
are you in an open relationship?
I want to try that, May.
So right now, this is a different kind of relationship right now called open relationship, and it came out. Even it came out in the 60s and the 70s, but it's now also gaining some kind of a popular trend going here in Asia. Are you living together or in a domestic partnership?
Soon.
Are you in a are you in a complicated relationship where you cannot define where you are exactly? Silence, huh?
Yeah.
Are you married? Are you in a complicated marriage? Are you annulled, separated, or divorced? Or this is option 10. Are you heartbroken or not moved on from separation and loss? Guys out there watching us, if you um whatever your status is, please share it. Please share it to us. Please share it to us. Okay? So Kurt, nasan ka doon?
Siguro dun ako sa, I mean, what's the last option again?
The last option was let's see, heartbroken and not moved on from separation.
But actually, well, maybe moving on already, but
Yeah,
and then
that's good.
going to the single and really searching.
Okay. Okay, I that's see good. That in the Facebook chat, a lot of people are reacting.
I can see them. So, like for example, hi Nonoy Apetrior. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
he said hello, May,
Hello.
and hello, Palma. Yeah, he
Oh,
said
yes.
everyone, and he's actually saying that he's single and ready to mingle.
Wow. Hi, Elmer.
And then we also have
Oh,
Matt Mateo.
yeah, Matt. Matt is in London. Hi, Matt. Thank you for joining. Okay.
We're international.
Yeah, there are quite a few people, or more than a few people who are listening to us right now from around the world. So,
Right.
Kurt, you're one of those great friends who took the chance in the first workshop I ever conducted in Tagaytay, and it was called a Love Happy Singles Retreat. And I branded it as a co-author your next love story because it's about co-writing your next love story. I think I have a picture of it and I can show you. And while I'm showing it,
Oh,
Kurt, I've never asked you about how was it back then. What can you say about that experience?
well, actually, for that kind of retreat, it's kind of like um, what do you call this? It's my first time actually to join those kind of retreat. Like if you talk about retreat, you will talk about way before from what I learned or understand about it is we'll talk about religious stuff, maybe we'll talk about to have a step back in your life and talk about um, how will you go on with your life spiritually. But I was actually shocked that there's actually a retreat for single people, and you're talking about how can you create your next love story. And I actually love it because I actually learned a lot. If you can remember me, like when we created a lot of identification of what we want, um, like what they call that, made the tree.
The mind
Uh,
map.
yeah, the mind mapping. Right, when you map out um, the things that you like in a relationship, it's actually still in my head right now. Like identifying the things that I want, the negotiable and non-negotiable stuff. And even really solving some personal issues. So the reason and no knowing that those reasons or issues was actually the reason why I can't have the um, love story that I deserve, right? So I'm actually quite happy and excited. So I think, oh wow, okay, can you see? Oh, it's actually during my birthday. Yeah, the retreat is sometime in August. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it was. If you can see on the screen, this is the very very first batch, and you were here, and
right,
and
birthday,
it was we did it in a retreat house in Brahma Kumaris. They were generous enough to host us, and
right.
we enjoyed um, healthy vegan food, and
Yeah, it's
then
actually
we
my first time also to eat vegan.
and it wasn't bad, right? It
Yeah. But one
wasn't
thing
bad.
is for sure, like any other retreat or seminar, what I've always been saying is that it's not a magic seminar. It's not something that when you attend this retreat or seminar, the next day you're gonna find the love of your life. I mean, it's not like after that retreat, the next couple of weeks you'll find the one. You'll find. I mean, you know what I mean. It's not really magic, but it will really show you opportunities and actually give you more awareness actually for the next chapter of your life. And for me, during that time, maybe a few weeks after that retreat, I find someone who's actually good looking, and then we're actually he's actually part of the checklist. It's like when I'm checking the list of the traits of the next relation that I have, it's actually there, almost complete. But what happened? It's like a week after, and then I realized, oops, there's something in this person that I think is a non-negotiable trait. So, and then I thought, and my learning about it is, yeah, I think the universe is really helping me picture out what I really need or what I really want in the love story. So I think that workshop really helped me a lot, especially nowadays. That I think you're what they call this, May. You're a good testimonial about what I have been through ever since and up to this day.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Kurt. That was lovely. And yes, I agree that it's not a magic retreat, but it is magical in a sense, right? It's because it offers you to discover yourself a lot, and in the end, when you go out there, it's easy for you to find really the one that you call the right person for you. And now I've changed it to a different name. And first, I would like to share to you how it was. How it was a throwback of the Love Happy Singles Retreat. So I've done 7 already. Actually, this next coming retreat will be the 7th. So I've done 6 retreats in the past, and so these are the activities that we did. Remember this, Kurt? The Hillcraft cards, the mind mapping. Yeah, of course. These are the people who joined the retreat, activities that we did. We have meditation. It's like an eat, pray, love thing, right? A kind of experience. And there is a bit of sharing. What's the favorite part of this retreat, Kurt? What's your favorite part?
My favorite part of the retreat is actually the emotional truth.
Yeah, it's something,
My
no?
favorite module as well.
Yeah. So people who need the retreat are actually, since we're already talking about it, I'm just gonna pass by just quickly before we start the talk. People who need it is if you're yearning to find, oops, you're yearning to find the one true mate, that will fulfill your personal desire and happiness, and is seeking guidance on how to attract this person in your life. So these are all for all the single people out there. If you're experiencing a stall in your love life status after your last breakup and cannot move on from the shadows of the past, which is where Kurt is, but is already moving on. And if you feel that it is the right time for you to settle down and start a family, but is unsure as how and who to start it with, then this singles retreat is especially made for you. So I'm just making this offer before we start so that it's over and done with. And it's something exciting. I want, because before it was termed as Love Happy Singles Retreat, but I changed the name to Soulmate Retreat. You know why, Kurt? You know why I changed it? The ones that we rediscovered in ourselves, and the one that we qualified as the ones that we put in the list and we asked the universe, is actually our soulmate. And would you believe, I mean, in your experience after the retreat, what happened is you met a guy who you had a the longest relationship with, right? And he fitted exactly what you've written for your love story. Is it right?
Right.
Yeah. So that guy who came into your life is a soulmate. Actually a soulmate, and I will explain later. There are different kinds of soulmates that we will talk about later. So that's why I changed it to a singles retreat to a soulmate retreat, and it focuses on being empowered to co-author. When you say co-author, it means you author it with God, your next love story. And the difference between the previous soulmate retreats is that this one has we will, instead of having an emotional truth inside the retreat house, you will have an emotional truth uh, in the beach at night with a bonfire. We'll have a care treat package, and you will have island hopping and all those things that you will do at the beach, because this is a beach setting, and it's on May 26th to 28th in Cagbalete Island. So this is what's gonna happen. You will soothe away all the stress and tension with the calming waves of the sea. You will discover deeply as the kind of lover you can be and shed off the past shadows of your past relationships and even as a child. And you even transform and discover your emotional truth with a sacred fire on the beach and have island hopping with new friends and deep, genuine appreciation. We will have now a care package treat for everyone, including a massage and a spa. And then, of course, the most important part of the retreat is to recognize your soulmate and start your own love story, co-authored by no one else but you. How do you make? So that's what the retreat is. So
Wow. Your description of the venue sounds relaxing, and it's really sounds fun. So how can we
mhm.
register and how much will it cost us?
Okay, so the retreat fee includes all of this: boat and van and boat transfers, accommodation for 3 days and 2 nights, meals and snacks. The retreat module is inclusive, which includes the materials, island hopping, and your self care treat package. And how much do you think would that cost, Kurt?
I think that's quite a lot. And one trip for me in 2 days and 3 nights is usually around 5,000 per day.
5,000. Yeah, five. Yeah, actually, it's
And
5,000 per day or more. Um, if I like did my costing already. If you gonna These are the costs if you're gonna go there on your own, and if you add all up, that actually adds up to 18,000. But in this retreat, the actual retreat fee is only 15,000. So that's 5,000 per day. Um, it's just like spending a trip with a meaning.
wow, so yeah, traveling with a meaning.
Yeah, and the meaning is that you'll be having the biggest opportunity of finding your soulmate, right? So
Exciting.
exciting. So not exciting. But wait, no, there's more. So right
There's more.
now, because yeah, di ba? I'm waiting to use that term. Usually people use that term. Wait, there's more. So tonight we're offering people a 5,000 peso discount, who will for people who will register today. So all you need to do is message me or message Kurt or comment, and then we'll send you email on how to proceed with the registration. This is only limited to 10 slots. I can only accommodate 10 people with that 5,000 discount, and it's a really great deal. So which means that you will be going for 3 days and 2 nights with the opportunity of finding your soulmate, right? So do you think it's a good deal, Kurt? So register now and tell your friends too who wants to register.
It's actually a great deal.
Yeah, yun. Thank you. Because I would next in the next coming months and years, I'm going to offer it also outside the country, this workshop. So I better have it started here in the Philippines, and I'll be soon sharing it outside. So better like to be the first, like you, Kurt, be the first to be part of this very unique retreat, and this is a very unique offer.
Yeah, I think guys. If I will be able to attend the retreat again and then pay this certain kind of amount, I will definitely still attend and join the activity. So I think that's how I'm really impressed, and that's how I value this retreat. So yeah, I go grab the opportunity, guys.
So I'm sure, Kurt, you will be part of this retreat. I'm very sure of it. Right? Yeah. Okay. So the in the screen is how to avail the discount, and now we're going to the main reason why we're having this talk. This talk is about soul relationships. So thank you for allowing me to share the soulmate retreat. Now we'll go to soul relationships, and Kurt, I would like to ask you, because I cannot see the screen, are there any comments on the Facebook chat that you want to read and share?
Yeah, I think no, they're just saying hello, everyone.
Okay, that's cool. I'm gonna play something first to set the mood for this. Just a few. I want just tell me if you remember this song. This is a song about like a song to for the soulmate. Okay. Can you hear it?
Beyond any experience, your eyes have silence. In your most frail gesture of thinking, which I cannot touch because they are too near. The first I loved forever was when you whispered my name, and I knew at once you loved me.
Naabutan mo ba yan, Kurt?
For the me of who I am. Actually, hindi na.
There was a movie about this, about Beauty and the Beast series, and this song was very popular then. One of my favorite songs, and it depicts about how it feels to meet your soulmate. It's like the first time that you saw, you already fell in love and you recognize. Okay, so let's yeah, so that's it. So that is actually art. What our talk is all about. Soul relationships. So what do you know? May I ask you, Kurt? You found your let's say life partner or soulmate, yeah. And how many years were you together? I know this is very personal. And you,
Well, actually, I think no, I he's the really what like divine mate, if you will call it. But yeah, we actually met last 2016, and we're about to what celebrate our 2 years in um 2 years and 8 months, perhaps. But we actually ended our relationship 3 months exactly 3 months ago. So um, what happened there is that there's no actually what quarreling or arguments or we just felt that um, like he actually just felt that I'm really too busy and then doing a lot of things, and he felt that I have no time for him. So yeah, so that's the reason why we split up. But I actually in my mind and in my head, in my heart, I know for sure that he's the one.
and is he the one who you called during the retreat? Like the qualities.
Yeah, very very exact qualities that I
Yeah.
really ensure that he's the mature guy, his um and other things.
So have you ever wondered why, if for example he's the one, I called him and he came into my life, did you ever wonder why did we need to separate then? Did you
I
ever?
always ask myself like, uh, if I feel that he's the one, why do we need to like separate? I mean, why do we need to just why we just don't push for it and just be together for eternity if there is. Yeah, I actually asked that too.
Okay. And that's the reason why actually we need to be aware about the concept of soul relationships. Just to share to you my experience when Jeff died, and you know him, he was also byproduct, the first byproduct of that retreat, the retreat which I formulated after my journey in finding him. was and then he passed away, and I questioned that too. I questioned, why does he have to go? He's supposed to be the one, right? But then why does he leave? And why did he leave? And with that questioning, I was able to connect to this divine source. And whenever I read, I do also readings as well as love coaching. I do readings, and during these readings, this divine guidance would kind of explain to me bit by bit, through other people's readings, how the system works when it comes to relationships. And that's when I understood what soul relationships are, and why people have to, if they were our soulmates, why do they have to leave? Some of them stay, some of them not. Why are there people who hurt us the most, right, with no reason, gets angry at us with no reason? And how do we move on from a very intense relationship, that hurt us? How do we forgive, and how do we let go? So those were the things that I kind of, for years, for 3 years to be exact, I pondered on. And then one day when I had a retreat in Peru for a month, this divine guidance told me, like, kind of made everything, gelled everything together, and told me, or to share this kind of concept to the world. Um, well, it seems like it's not the world. We only have a few participants right now, but I mean, it's the start. And this is the very first time that I'm going to share this kind of concept to everybody, because it's not something that you can readily Google, because what I found in Google was actually does not fit. They're all conflicting. So that's why there's a need for me to share. And this is it's up to you to take it or not, but it's something that is, for me, very beneficial, especially if you're a practitioner, a spiritual practitioner, or even if you're just wanting to understand relationships well. So let's go to that, Kurt. Do you by any chance know what a soul relationship is?
I'm actually confused now, but soul relationship, is it like what kind of like similar to a soulmate or something?
Yes, and more. So soulmates. I will be talking about soulmates, twin flames, and divine mate later. It's part of a soul relationship. But also, before I talk, I really go to the definition of a soul relationship. Um, I will ask you first, Kurt. I will
Hmm.
first go into the different kinds of relationship that we already know. And this is not according to, diba, they talk about platonic relationship, erotic relationship, and stuff. So this kind of classification of relationship is something that this divine guidance also shared to me, and is essential in defining what really a soul relationship is. So when you were born, Kurt, what was the very first relationship you ever had?
Well, of course, definitely your parents, your mother and father.
Yes, and that's what you call um, uh, some it's a filial or default relationship. Why filial? Okay, I will share the screen. There you go. These are the different kinds of relationships. Or default, when you were born, we all we had was our parents, our family, and our relatives, and we cannot, like, in our awareness as a human being, we kind of have no choice in it, right? There's a saying that you cannot choose who your parents are, but actually in
Right.
the soul level you can. But I'll talk about that later. Um, Filial means family, and default because you already have a relationship with them, whether you like it or not. So
Right.
outside family, who were the next group of people did you form relationships with?
Well, if eventually you grow up and then you meet other people, like maybe if you have ate or kuya, And then if you have a newborn child in your family, but basically you go outside and then you meet other people like your friends. And you go when you're like in kinder or elementary, right? You have your friends, your teacher, or whoever, right?
So how do you become friends?
Um, it maybe because we're on click. We like each other. We are doing some things together. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so the next, after your family and relatives, the next kind of relationships is based on something that's common between you and the other person. Like, if, for example, you are in the same neighborhood, or you go to the same school, or in the same class, and you share common interests, or you're in the same company, then you kind of form relationships with them. Of course, there is something that um, it, there's something that it can these relationships may not be already a close or caring relationship, and we sometimes call that associate relationship. Like, oh, when you introduce somebody, this is um, if this is Pedro, for example, or this is Juan or John, an associate of mine. It means that there's a commonality between you and this person, right?
right.
So that's your next level of relationships after your default relationships. And when this commonality, like when you say friendship, is something that binds you, and there is caring already. When there is caring already, then it develops into friendships, right? There's care. You can never say that somebody is a friend if there's no caring. If he doesn't care about you, he's an associate. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah, and then when you become sexually aware, and this happens when you're a teenager, suddenly your best friend is very attractive because you gain sexual awareness, and now you start developing sexual relationships, right? And when this caring um, has turned into what we call love or romantic love, and it's usually partnered with sexual uh, relationship, then you call that a romantic relationship.
Right.
That's another level. And then,
But
so these kinds of relationships are all based on the first two, um, but usually on the second, because in our culture, it is the relationships outside the family that we have evolved relationships like friendship, sexual relationship, and romantic relationships with. And the next level of an evolved relationship, meaning it's a next level relationship, is the soul relationship.
right.
So how do you what can you say about that, Kurt?
Yeah, I actually understand where we started, like from the default relationship to friendship, or the what did you call that? The um, associate, yeah, right, relationship, and then you eventually evolve to another sexual relationship. But how about the concept of just boo boos, digital
Ah,
relationship, long distance relationship, and other
yeah.
things about relationship?
So these are evolved concepts and evolved relationships of friendship, sexual relationship and romantic relationships. So there are just deviations of them. So these are evolved relationships as well. Friendships that is mixed with sexual relationship become fubus, friends with benefits. Friendships with let's say romantic relationship with uh, separated by distance, or kept closer by technology, is an evolved relationship as well. So have you noticed, Kurt, that the types of relationship today are really changing?
Yeah. So how and why I think they're changing.
Today the concept of family even has changed. Before, the concept of family is about the mother, father, and the kids. And sometimes in our culture, there's the grandma and the grandpa and the uncle and the aunts and the cousins sometimes. And sometimes in the case of my sister, now it has evolved to a lot of people right now are single parents, right? They're single parents right now. They haven't that's their uh they're not a family unit is now a parent and a child. So even the filial or default relationship has changed. And have you noticed that, Kurt?
Yeah, and I actually agree. Like you, when you define and the current definition of a a family unit, but even today, even two gay guys, or two lesbians can be a default relationship to adopt children, right?
Yes. Technology has changed how we connect with people, and therefore, it changed in how we behaved in relationships. And now people are looking for new ways to connect because it's not satisfying or fulfilling as it before. It doesn't fit to the way of life as before, like what you said. If two gay guys love each other and they want to form a family, we cannot like put in the traditional kind of filial relationship concept of family, right? That it has to change, and also, like, if you see the world is getting darker, a lot of people are getting depressed. Why? A lot of people are getting disconnected. It's so easy to be angry at everybody. It's so easy to be annoyed and triggered by everyone around you, and your world becomes smaller and smaller. And for some people, even like mostly in the Western countries, I've talked to a lot of people who really say that it's really hard to connect when you're in the US or you're in Europe more than you can connect in people in Asia. And that's where the next level of relationship has stepped in. We have to adopt a new kind of relating with others so that relating with people is becomes still satisfying and fulfilling. I mean, no man is an island, and if it helps people and there's people to have satisfaction and fulfillment and love in their lives, I mean, we need a different kind of system of relating.
Wow, it's it's kind of heavy, but
Yeah.
it's actually really interesting, So and that concept is what you call the soul relationships, right?
Yes. So before we now I've explained to you the different kinds of relationships. What really soul relationship is, before you even relate, you have to know who you are. And in this concept, you still have to a paradigm shift is needed to know who you are before you can relate. Normally, we think that we are a physical human being having sometimes a spiritual experience. Sometimes when we go to church, when we meditate, when we something that touches us spiritually, when we hear opera, it becomes that's when our spirit or a soul kind of, that's when we feel it. But in this, to understand the concept of soul relationships, you have to adapt this paradigm of who you are really. You don't have a soul, you are the soul, and you have the body. So you're not a human being you are not um, a human being having a spiritual experience. It's the other way around. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, meaning our bodies are just like the clothes that we wear. Who is really relating to other people is our souls, is our spirit. That is the first thing that you need to um, embrace before you understand it fully. And I would like to check with you, Kurt, if that's a concept that you agree, and is it a concept that's too heavy to accept?
Yeah, I think I still having some some confusion about it. Why is it like that? But yeah, I think I'm getting it. But it's
Okay.
kind of to me, so I cannot really relate any
Much.
further. So
Okay.
yeah.
It's very understandable because it's like changing the your eyeglasses, like from when the time that you were um a teenager, from the child to a teenager, you suddenly have sexual awareness, and then suddenly, as I said, your friend becomes attractive to you because of that sexual hormones. This time, you're changing your glasses, and it's a great big leap from a person who is mundane, and then you suddenly change your glasses to see the spirit inside the human being. So I will try to explain it in a very much light way for you, Kurt, and for everybody else. And I would like to, I hope I can best explain it through this story. Yeah. Oh, before I introduce this concept of afterlife, in our religion and culture around the world, so this doesn't have to be that you should be in any religion or something. I'm not asking everyone to adopt a certain form of way of life or religion. Um, you see, before, every almost all religion are talking about the afterlife. How about in your religion, Kurt? Do you know the
Yeah.
concept of the afterlife? Yeah. So the afterlife is when the body dies, the soul goes somewhere, right?
Right.
Okay. So now I will introduce to you the before life. Before your soul, if your soul goes out after you die, then maybe before your soul, it comes in before you get born, right? Before you're alive, right?
Right.
Is it
Right.
logical? Okay. Good. So that is so we will focus on that. Before you became Kurt Silvano in this life, you
Mhm.
were a spirit and who jumped into the body of Kurt. And before that time, before you jumped into the body of Kurt, this is God, and this is you. You have a halo on your head, and this God with the laptop. I borrowed this cartoon. It is before you were born, you created a co-created your script or your life movie with God. So it
Mhm.
was before the time that you were born. So the script that you contains all the things that you will be experiencing in this earth, the lessons that you need to learn, and even the legacy or purpose that you will serve before that movie ends. Is that something that understandable,
Yeah.
Kurt?
Go on.
So yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
script that you did with God not very ordinary. It's very comprehensive. It's set up with to multiple pathways, outcomes. All the scenarios has been like set up, um, experience and everything, so that in every choice that you make, it will always lead to that experience, to that life lesson, or to that purpose. So that's how extensive this script is. And this has been already defined between you and God before you came in. Now
Right.
you, yeah, now you were not also a script writer, but you were also a caster. A caster. So in this picture, you and God, and you called out all the souls. You rallied up all the souls in heaven to find the perfect actors and actresses that will play those different parts of the movie called Kurt's life. So you made
Mhm.
contracts and agreements with them, and they will appear in some parts of your life, sometimes long term, sometimes short term, sometimes just one time, as your parents, your sibling, your friend, your boss, your lover, and your partner.
So do you mean to say all the people in my life has been predetermined? It's like, hey, we need a role, we need a cast for this movie. Who wants to go and join? Like that?
Yes, you can say that, but and more. um, their roles, if they have a great impact or influence, positive or negative, is also predetermined.
So before life is actually like, setting up a virtual game.
That's a good analogy, Kurt. That's exactly how a before life is.
So if everything is predetermined, so uh, of course we have that concept of free will, right? So we don't have a free will at all.
We still have free will. Because Kurt, in the game that we set up for ourselves, we map all the possible decisions we will be taking. Um, as Kurt, our even our psychology has been mapped out to know that, oh, Kurt most probably will react like this, like that, like this and that. And so we already with God have predetermined all those possible decisions that we will make, and we already mapped out the consequence upon making that decision. So there is still free will because you still have choice, and for every choice there is a set of outcomes.
Right.
That's how uh, free will is set up. We have set it up before, but in this life, it is up to us uh, to choose which of those predetermined choices we are actually going to take. That is free will.
So it's like that's why you said that the script is really what do you call that?
Comprehensive, yes. Very
Comprehensive. Like if Kurt will choose this path or Kurt will choose this path, this is what will happen.
yes. That's
So
how it is in the before life. Yeah. So
brilliant.
every Huh. So do you know now? Um, so now gives you a peek, like all the people who come into our lives, we ourselves put them there.
Right,
Does
right.
that make you think like that? So now that you know that people in your life is predetermined, now look beyond what the person is doing to you in front of you, and you look now in the role or the character that they're playing, because these are the souls you had an agreement with to play a role in your movie called life. And then you can now start relating with them and connecting with them in a different way, in a level of a soul.
So you mean to say, May, no, that the soul relationship is something that recognizes that everybody around us, even you or me or whoever our friends are around us, are all souls, who are playing a part in our what do you call this, written agreement or script or the comprehensive script with God.
Yeah, exactly, Kurt. That's a good way to put it.
So why do we need to do that, May? I mean, you know, uh, why can't we just relate with each other in this earth in a human, non-soul way? Why do we have to, be able to be aware that hey, there's a soul, and then maybe need to be aware that there's a script and whatever.
Yeah. You see, Kurt, as I've mentioned before, the world is evolving, and most of the people right now are what we are in the, let's just say, are awakening. We call have this they call it spiritual awakening, but I can just say it's an awakening or a soul awakening. And I'm sure that most of the people who are curious about soul relationships are in that stage. In that stage, humans find it really difficult to connect with each other, because the way we could relate with each other is outmoded, it's not effective, and it's not fulfilling. You can see that by the number of depression, the number of suicides, the broken families, and how dark and lonely our world is today. So because our consciousness are evolving, and most of our are in that process, we need a new way to relate each other. And the concepts of the soul and before life is more accessible than before because of this spiritual awakenings. And to really answer your question, why do we need it? Because, for example, in the Christian Bible, they say, love your neighbor as yourself. But if your neighbor is really annoying, how can you even be pleasant, right? And then what happens is there will be like you'll get angry at your neighbor will get angry at you, and then you transfer to another place, and it's the same thing. So the world now gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But the thing is, there must be a reason why everywhere you go, there's a certain neighbor that angers you and annoys you, right? So which means there is something that we're missing in relating with people.
So since we are, really evolving, and then you talk about spiritual awakening. So in this kind of relationship, the soul relationship is the next step for mankind.
It is the next hope for mankind. It's the next hope. Imagine the whole human race relating with each other in the soul level, and just maybe, just maybe we could find peace, don't you think?
Yeah, right. I actually who doesn't want peace at all. But so how do we do this? The concept of the soul relationship. How do we connect and relate with another soul? If just being aware, how do you do that?
Okay, it's as I said, you become. It's like changing the glasses from the human experience to you change the glasses to a soul experience. So to understand it more fully, let's talk about the most popular concepts like soulmates, twin flames, and divine mates. Let's talk about that. You want to talk about that so that people will get a bit more what soul relationship is. Are you ready, Kurt?
Sure, that's interesting, me. And it seems to fit those who are spiritual or religious.
Yeah. Do you see like a lot of people are already um, into that, like the concept of soulmates. So let's talk about with the first topic is soulmates. What is your concept of soulmates, Kurt?
Oh, soulmate. Soulmate is something that I think is destined for me to be with. I think.
Yeah, that's the most popular concept of a soulmate. It's because of the word mate, that the people think it's about a person that they will be ending up with, right? Or
Right.
that they will become their lovers or their husbands and their wives, or they get married to it, which is actually, Kurt, I'm sorry to be honest, it's not the case.
Ah,
Yeah. Soulmate is somebody who played a significant role in your past lifetime before this. Remember the before life?
right.
Remember the concept? Okay.
Yeah.
Soulmate is somebody whom you casted in your life before that, which means before you were Kurt, you were the before life, and before the before life was another person. Let's just say your name at that time was Danny, for example. And Danny had a friend and a friend there, and the name of that friend is can you give me a name, Kurt, of a friend? For example, Albert. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, that has an impact, right? So Danny and Albert were really, really good friends in that story before your life, and
Right.
then now comes Danny dies, went to heaven, and now is with God again, and God and and that and the soul decided to be named Kurt, and Kurt made a script and included casted Albert again in their movie, right?
With another character.
Yeah, with Albert, the same soul is given a different role, but it's the same soul.
Right.
Yeah. So you come here to now you become Kurt, and this incarnation, you're Kurt, and Albert is now Albert. Let's say his name again is Albert, and you meet Albert, and you have this intense connection with him that you cannot define. Why? Because before you came here, you were made to forget all those lifetimes and before lives. You're made to forget that, but the feeling and the connection is still there. So that is your soulmate, the soulmate that you had a history in another lifetime.
Right. You know what, May? If I'm actually looking at our Facebook comments right now, Elo is um, telling us some comments here. Like, sabi niya, we just forget that we make those choices before we are born. Because if we remember everything, the lesson won't be authentic anymore. It's having like a spoiler in a movie.
Exactly. Exactly. That's
Right.
the reason why you're made to forget. That's the reason. That's very good, Ella. That's exactly the reason why you're made to forget.
Yeah.
So it's no fun to already know that you win the game, right?
Yeah.
If you no fun, it's no fun playing anymore, right?
Right. So
So
what is the purpose of soulmate and why do we meet them?
yeah, this deep connection is actually the reason we always heralds something that you have to learn or have to do. So and the connection is there as a security blanket that you will not run away, meaning that you have to do this and not escape.
Mm.
You know, in short, in Tagalog, ulang takas. People usually interpret this feeling, this deep connection, as love or being in love. Sometimes it manifests as an intense desire to be together, deep attachment, or dependency. But what really is a soulmate. And a soulmate comes in our lives for a major purpose. Some of the purpose may be it's either you have to pay a karmic debt, or you have to be receiver of the karmic debt, or you need to learn a lesson, or it will help you to do your purpose in your life. So whatever it is, it means if a soulmate comes, it's a major major purpose. And the different kinds of purposes I will talk about in a bit after I finished talking about the different kinds of popular soul relationships. So sometimes our soulmates, yes, they can be our husbands, our wives, and lovers, but sometimes they can be our friends, they can be our family members, they can be anybody. So, and then if you see here, it's then the very, how do you know that you've met your soulmate is when you saw the soul and it's like, oh, you're here, I've been waiting for you. It's like there's this some sense of connection and anticipation, and you like, it seems like, where have you been all my life? So other reasons why you meet a soulmate, as I said, karmic debt. It means that you've done something wrong to the other in the past lifetime, or has to be paid to balance in this lifetime. Or it can be the other way around. Like you have done something really good and now it's time to return the favor to you. Either way, you meet, and as I said, that deep connection, so you will not miss it or not ignore that person and just let them pass in this lifetime. So we most often in our life movie scripts, we put our soulmates, we cast our soulmates in those scenes where we need to learn a very, very important lesson, or in major significant events in our lives. Have you have this experience, Bert?
Ah. So you think Albert is a soulmate?
Do you think that Albert, who? You're talking names.
I'm actually asking myself now.
uh, is he is he your soulmate? Did he teach you something? Did you pay a
Ah, no,
karmic
no,
debt,
actually no.
or he paid a karmic debt to you?
Right.
So
Maybe it's someone
no,
that really annoys me.
yeah.
Whoever
So,
she is. So, but uh, maybe I have seen my soulmate. I haven't thought of it for now, but yeah, often I know people are looking for their soulmates because they end up getting married. So I'm actually curious now. Uh, well, for me, I will still have to check. But for you out there, how about maybe we can ask our listeners if they have met their soulmate, with the definition that we gave them. So please, share your experience in our Facebook comments. Just
Yeah.
comment in experience, right?
Yes, thank you for asking, Kurt. For me, I've met because I my natural ability is really to read past lives, and it's quite interesting for me. I've met somebody who was my brother in the past life, who was quite recently I've met in Peru somebody who was my mother before and who I was also a mother to her before. It's kind of rare to meet, but usually it really tells about, oh, there's something important happening. So and now I also met somebody who's my child in the
Wow.
past time. So that's what you call soulmate. Means that there's really a very major thing that's happening in your life, and you have when you are aware of that, you seize it. Like, stop. People always think, oh, I met my soulmate and then I will have a happy ending to my love life. It's not about that. When you meet your soulmate, like, oops, what's the purpose? Why are we here? And if you see, soulmate relationships are always not smooth flowing. There's always conflict. There is always like this tug of war, that and there's always this anxiety inside. Oh, maybe you might lose them, but then you don't want to. You're so attached. That's the feeling of a soulmate. So let's go to the next popular soul relationship. You want to? Is there anybody who commented about soulmates, Kurt?
Wait, I'm checking. Oh, sabi ni Elo, ito. Yes, just recently.
Oh, di
Sabi
ba?
niya, and it has taught major lessons, really life-changing. Wow, really interesting.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Elo, for sharing. Yeah. So let's go to the next concept. Ito, twin flames. What's your take on twin flames, Kurt?
Twin flames. I have no idea. But it's like twin flame is something that is, of course, you're twins, but you're parang, is it like you're really bound together or to do something together or resolve something?
Yes. Wow. I mean, intuitively, that's if that's coming from your intuition, then there's some truth in it. So the twin flame is, remember, we go back to the before life. So before this lifetime, you have decided with God, you co-created a script with God, but then you see that all the learnings and the lessons are kind of contradicting, meaning it needs another vessel to experience what the soul needs to experience, right? So if you see in this first, in the infinity sign, oops, that is like a soul splitting into two. You see it?
Right, yeah, yeah.
Soul splitting into two. So it's like a cell, splitting. Then you're just one half of your soul. The other is your twin soul. It's very very rare to meet your twin flame because it defeats the purpose. The purpose of of a soul splitting is to have different set of experiences, different lessons, and sometimes they don't really correspond to the same time or same location, same era. They're not born at the same time because there's like a synchronicity and timing to everything. So it's really, really rare for you to find a twin flame. And again, people interpret it as as when you meet the twin flame, there's a very, very strong, intense, deep connection with this person, to the point that you know what they're thinking and you know what they're feeling. You know why? Because here I got this picture, and it really depicts the twin flame. I am in you and you in me. It's mutual in divine love. That's what twin flame is. And maybe it will be best explained if I share my experience with with Jeff, who passed away, my husband. He's my twin flame. The very first time I saw him, I mean, after we were classmates in high school, and but we never really recognized each other. But after 15 years, and when we met each other again, the first thing that came into my mind, oh, he is me. We are one. Like, he is really me. Like, how can I not love that? So that is, at that point, I didn't know the concept of twin flames yet. I just know the what I feel, and the feeling is that I know that we are just one soul or one being somehow, and I couldn't explain it. And it's so easy for us to read each other's feelings and minds, and to really um like we're really in the same wavelength, even if our characteristics are so like different. You remember Kurt, Jeff, he's so rational, logical, and he's so left brained. I'm so right brained. I'm so in
Like
the
it's like
intuitive,
complement
spontaneous.
each other.
Yes, we're really from different, we're polar opposites, but we complement each other that way. But not all relationships are like that. It's just that the defining characteristic of this relationship is that you recognize yourself in that person. When you meet a twin flame in this lifetime, and it's very, very rare that you meet it, is that it means that you have a higher purpose or a mission, because you need to access both the knowledge and skills of your twin to make that mission happen, to fulfill that. And with Jeff and I recognized the mission afterwards, but the mission has already been done before I even recognized that, oh, that's how it is, which is when we made this module about tarot reading, how to teach tarot reading to people who have no background of the tarot cards, no background about psychism or intuitive readings and such. We've developed this module, and he did the technical part of the tarot reading, something which I cannot do, and I did the intuitive part, is something that he cannot do. And together, I think that was the real reason behind why we were brought here together, for that particular purpose. And now, since he passed away, I'm teaching the same module to everybody who's interested in it. Does that explain to you, Kurt, what a twin flame is?
Yeah, right. If we're just uh, really talking about um, when you meet someone and you feel that you are one, and then you feel that you complement each other, and then um, and maybe create or fulfill a mission. But as you've said, what I understand is that it's not always that you'll meet the person, because um, the concept of the twin flame is you will both experience different things at a different time, at a different moment, to
Yes.
fulfill that particular and greater purpose. Did I get it
Yeah.
right?
To when you, yes, to fulfill a greater purpose, but when you meet, it means that you need both the qualities of the soul of your twin and you to create something for a bigger purpose as well. So it's
So,
also
right. So meaning, I may have a twin flame at this lifetime or may not, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, wow, that's exciting. So if ever I'd like to meet my twin to do something great in the world, May. So what then are we reverse engineering during the retreat? So who are we calling for? Is it like our soulmate, our twin flame, or is there another one?
There's another one, and we call that the
Oh,
divine mate. It's called the divine mate. It's a the divine mate can be a soulmate or can be a twin flame, but the divine mate, or some people call it life partners,
oh,
are the soul or souls. There can be one and there can be many that you contracted in this lifetime to be a life partner, to be your lover, to be your husband, to be your wife. So you have made an arrangement with them um, for that particular purpose.
hmm. So if we have a contract with them, then we don't need to worry, right? They will come.
That's true. You will meet them, but there is a condition.
Hmm.
You must be ready, and if you're ready, um, you must recognize and not miss the opportunity, because if there are times that you can miss the opportunity of meeting your divine mate. If you miss it, it's okay. Either they will come back, or somebody else will you filled in somebody else to you contracted somebody else to fill it in when you miss this divine mate.
Right.
So it depends on your script, and if the question is really, if your divine mate, if they are your divine soulmate and they will come right now at this very moment, will you be ready, Kurt? Will you be ready now or in the next 40 years?
That's a very hard question. I'm not sure. But if I will be able to meet them now, my divine soulmate, maybe well, as you've said, I will depend on the script.
What you will?
I will depend on the script. So come what may.
Yeah. So well, the thing is, why does some people have don't have love lives right now? Have you ever wondered? Like they said, I've been like haven't had love life for a long time. Have you wondered about that? Is it is
Uh,
it is it because they haven't contracted anyone?
hmm, maybe. Or it depends.
It depends. That's a good question, because if people have written their soul scripts, and that a lover is not in order at the moment, meaning there at this moment you should not have a lover because you need to focus on something else, then you will feel indifferent to it, meaning I don't really want to focus on that. I will not focus on my love life, I will focus on my career. So that's the like a marker. It's the feeling like that, that at this very moment I haven't commissioned anybody. But when there is a yearning or a longing inside, um then you know that a divine mate is waiting to connect with you. It's just that you are not ready. You just have to get ready, because it will not come if you are not ready. And that is the purpose of the soulmate retreat that we're doing, to make you ready for the meeting so that the divine soul connects to with you soon. Do you have that? Do you have that yearning, Kurt?
I think I have the yearning. Of course, it's something that really interests me right now. But how do we prepare ourselves to meet them, the divine mate that we're talking about?
Okay. To share to you my when I was in Cebu, and I was like working for a a company, and I was really, my mind was telling me, it's okay not to have a partner. I'm ready to grow old alone. This was before I got married. And I was like thinking, maybe really I'm for single blessedness. So I went to a nunnery. I went to a nunnery. I think it's Perpetual Succor, and they have this they call sit in. I think that's what they call it. It's a whole day kind of retreat where they give you a few questions to really ask what do you, if you're really for single blessedness, if you're really called for service to be a nun and all those things. And in that moment, I became aware. I mean, there was this really big feeling of yearning and saying no. Even my mind tells me that it's okay to be alone. I'm independent. My heart tells me that um, I am just destined to be married. That's the first step, is awareness. Awareness about your preferences, awareness about your conviction about, are you really seeking for a partner, awareness about your conscious unconscious desires, awareness about your love languages, and all of that. That's After that, you will get to know what kind of divine mate that is trying. That's when in the retreat we reverse engineer all of those things, those awareness, into knowing the kind of divine mate that is waiting to connect with you. And after that, you call on the divine soulmate, and properly, there's a proper way of doing it. And then the universe conspires to prepare you for that meeting, should you be open to take the challenge.
Yeah, actually, I remember that. That's why we did all those exercises in the retreat, so that I would be able to recognize my divine mate, right?
Yes. But after calling for your divine mate and knowing what your divine mate, when you go into the real world, it's not automatic. As you said, it's not magic. There's a challenge before you have, like, you're being prepared, but the actual preparation, or the actual what do you call that, marination, is done by the universe, not me, because I'm not God. I'm just a facilitator. That's
Right.
just like, for example, Kurt, what was the first challenge that would ever happen to you after the retreat, before you
First
met
challenge,
the divine mate?
well, financial stability.
Okay, so that was the first challenge. So how is it related to the list that you created about your
Well,
divine mate?
uh, based on my list, it's something non-negotiable. I mean, if I will be having the next to call this love story of my life, is that both of us should be financially stable.
Yes. So, which means, not in your list, it says there that both of you should be financially stable, and
Right.
your divine mate may already be in that, but you're not. So you're not ready. So the first thing that the universe asks you to do is what? Ask you to be financially stable, and that's the first obstacle that you had. Right? So that's how it works. Kind of get the hang of it.
Right, right. I'm kind of getting it.
Okay, so knowing these things, like the soulmate, the twin flames, and the divine mates, that's just the first part of the process in soul relationships. So basically, you can categorize your relationships as a soulmate. Really, in every aspect of your relationship, your mother, your father, your siblings, and everybody else around you, everybody that you're relating, you can categorize them as a soulmate. You can categorize them as a twin flame, which is rare, or categorize them as a divine mate. But most of them are maybe new souls that you just had an experience right now. So they may be not soulmates. So we call them also as soul relationships.
Mm.
Okay.
Actually, maybe had a comment here, no, from Matt. So he actually asked, why do I need to find any of those? And what is the ultimate goal to find any of those describe mates and divine being?
Okay. We will talk about it. It actually, it's not a goal, Matt. It's not a goal. It's not that something that we should strive for. It is automatic. It comes to us. The soulmate comes to us in a significant event in our lives. And when we feel an intense connection with this person, we know that something big would be happening, and we have to pay attention. And paying attention, and that soulmate has a role in that transition in your life or major significant event. With a twin flame, when you see and recognize, oh, this is my twin flame, we are one. Now you know that there is something happen. There is something that you must do together for higher purpose. And when you meet a divine mate, then you know that this is somebody I commissioned to be a partner, a lover, or a person that I will get married to. It's not a goal, but for some people, the divine mate becomes a goal because there is this intense yearning for it. The problem is that people are not ready to meet the divine mate. And again, why? Why do you need to get ready? Because you need to get ready to meet the divine mate. You commissioned it. You contracted for you to meet. And the purpose behind it is the next topic. The purpose of soul relationships. Why these soul relationships? Why do I need to recognize the soul relationship? How does it help my life? What does it benefit me? So I think that question is fitting to talk about, to transition to the next topic. Yeah. So there.
So
The
how will I
purpose of
know that purpose, May?
what?
How will I know that purpose?
Okay. I will. I will first tell you these are the purpose of the soul relationships: to trigger or act as a catalyst, to assist or to be a helper or to teach. Okay. So, Kurt, my question to you. Um, and all the people who are listening and with us right now, try to look back or look into your lives right now. Is there anybody who is kind of annoying to you, who annoys you a lot?
I think yeah.
Yeah, you.
I think
So
there's someone.
someone who gets on your nerves, someone
Yes.
who makes you extremely bad.
Remembering her now makes me so angry.
Yeah, okay. Wow, really angry. So these are the soul relationship whose purpose is to trigger. The people who annoy you help you to grow. So, Kurt, with this person, how does this person make you feel?
This person made me feel so bad that I'm not good. I'm not good enough. I'm just a dumb person.
Okay, so this person, as you say, is making you feel bad. And what is it? Because it makes you feel like a dumb person, you're not worthy enough, and all those things. So, what is it pointing out to you?
Uh, I think she's helping me out to understand where I'm coming from. Like, what was the issue? Why do I have to think about being bad or being not good enough? So I think I have to learn and go back to check on the issues that why do I have to think about
Why?
and feel that I'm not good enough?
Yeah, so it's pointing out to you the self-esteem issues that you have, isn't
Right.
it? So that's what she's pointing out to you.
I'm
So the
triggered.
trigger,
You're not triggered.
it triggers you to feel that way because it means there is something inside you that triggers you.
Right.
A trigger cannot trigger something that you don't have. It triggers something that you have, and that what you have is a self-esteem, self-worth issues that you have, which is maybe like latent. And when she comes, it like triggers that. It's like a snow globe. Na when it's not triggered, it's calm, but then suddenly rock the snow globe, and everything is like turmoil. So
Right. So the purpose of that person for me to feel triggered about a certain issue that I feel, or
yes.
that is something bothering me, right?
Yeah, so that's the well. Let's just say it's like a mirror. The trigger is holding out a mirror to you, making you see that, oh, hey, you have these kinds of issues within yourself. But that's not the only purpose of a trigger. The next question is, now that you know that it's pointing out to your self worth and self issues, what is it making you do?
Well, I have the choice to I have the choice to avoid the person and maybe avoid the issue,
Mhm.
or face that person and face that issue.
So when you face an issue, like I say, when she's there, she makes you feel less of yourself. And so the next time she comes, what do you do aside
Well,
from you
yeah, I
can't
have
avoid her? She's like
to
in your workplace, right?
right. Well, I have to resign
Okay.
to see. I don't like that kind of situation.
Okay. So, but when you resign and go to another company, for example, and there's another person like that, what will you do? Resign again?
Well, that I have to think about whether
Yes.
I will learn that lesson.
Yeah. So what is the lesson here? What do you need to do for you to learn that lesson? What do you need to do? I mean, what makes what are you doing now, like to address that self-esteem and self-worth issues? What are you doing?
Right. First is for you to be able to be aware that you actually don't have any problem with your self-esteem. I mean, um, just be able to say that you are actually good enough. And then
Mm-hmm.
the next time that there's another person who will trigger you with that, it's not really an issue anymore because you've already solved that. So you will still continue and will not avoid that person because for sure you know for yourself that you understand that it's not, and you learned the lesson already.
Yeah. So what in your case, you said that affirmation of yourself, that you know, I really don't have that issue that may be an issue of me in the past. Now I'm different. I'm a different Kurt. I don't have those self-esteem issues. So it makes you do that, right?
Right.
Yeah. For other people, what they do face in those situations is either they go to self-development um, seminars. Some people study harder. Some people work harder and stuff. So that's the purpose of a trigger. A trigger is a trigger is makes you want to do something. It makes, as you said, you want to escape. It makes you fly. It makes you go to flight. Makes you go to fight it. Like when you see the person, you get annoyed, and if you feel that you can punch the person, you will, right?
Oh
Or
yeah.
yeah, and some people they freeze and then they become depressed and they become sad. So those are the three responses. But the thing is, what is the trigger makes you do. That's what it is. The purpose of a trigger is. And mostly, like I've heard about a lot of, I've been doing love coaching with some couples, and their triggers are usually their wives. Their triggers are usually wives, like because sometimes in a long-term relationship, the guy usually becomes complacent, or the wives usually becomes complacent. So when they came home and their wife is very annoying, it triggers them to do something, which is like go to their work or something. The triggers are that they help you grow by making you do something. That's the
Right.
purpose of the trigger. Okay.
All right.
So avoiding the person is not the answer.
I
Avoid.
agree. I agree because it will not. I know it will not. Um, disappear, and actually it will haunt you even more if you will not be able to answer your, or resolve your issue.
Yeah, so I would like to ask everybody who's listening, to okay, list down, this is the people that annoy me, and now look back, who are these people, what are these people trying to mirror to me or reflect back to me, what are they pointing me out, how they make me feel and what they're pointing it out and what I need to do. And the magical part of it is when you have identified that the trigger, like, they have served their purpose. So this triggers, this kind of people will not be available in your space anymore. That's the magical part of it.
Right. May, so the question now is, we've been talking about our soulmate, our twin flame, our divine mate. So the first, the trigger purpose can be any one of them, right?
Yes. But
All right.
usually, yes, they can be at some points in our lives. And but triggers, usually, I'm not saying everybody. Usually, triggers are if the issue is not as spectacular or major, they can just be anybody within our surroundings. Those are triggers. Our neighbors, annoying bosses, annoying and anybody can be a trigger. But when it is a soulmate that becomes a trigger, it means that the lesson that you need to learn is very, very major. Yeah, and I just had that experience quite recently, quite recently. That a soulmate was a trigger. Okay, so the next, as I said, let's go. There are three purposes of why this soul relationships, how this soul relationship help you, and how it benefits your life. So the first is that they act as a trigger, and it catalyzes for you to grow, to do something
Right.
and grow. The next is, now think of all the people who have inspired you, Kurt, or influenced you to be who you are now. And also
Mhm.
think of all the people who, without their help, care, and support, you wouldn't be who you are now. There are a lot, right?
Marami sila, marami.
Marami sila. So these are your soul relationships that who have the role of assisting you or helping you in your journey of life. So these are the helper or assist souls. So this is their purpose. May it be a soulmate, maybe a divine mate, maybe a twin flame. Their role is to assist you and help you in your journey of life. And this is a very pleasant role, actually, because they are here to assure you that you get the help that you needed. So, what do you feel, Kurt, when unexpected comes at the time you needed it the most?
Sorry?
What, how do you feel, or what do you feel when there's like somebody helps you unexpectedly?
Well, of course, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel that I'm supported, and then I get the guidance or the support that I need.
Yeah, so that's right. You may feel, sometimes some people feel indebted, grateful, and then there are a population of people who feel indifferent, as if like I yung what we call um in this generation we call entitlement. They feel entitled to it. It doesn't matter. But remember how you treat this soul relationships, people who assist you, affect the kind of grace. When I say grace, the provision that you receive from the universe as well. So
Mhm.
if you abuse those who help you, it is not them who will give you the consequence of the action. There are certain universal laws that operate, and so if you've taken people for granted, take abuse people or something, take time to help them out, or to even just thank them, because the souls that help you is like, let's just say, it's like grace or a blessing that's been given to you that you wrote them yourself. And if that blessing is something that you did not like appreciate so much, do you think blessing will come again to you soon? Right? So that's how that's how it affects grace and provision. Does it make sense to you, Kurt?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
actually
it
makes sense.
actually makes sense.
So I
So
think
I
I
think
would
I would
also be grateful
agree
to my
to
soul
my
relation.
authority.
Yes. Bear in mind that you can be that person for others too. So you can be the helper or the assisting soul to somebody else. You know, and sometimes I've had these experiences when I just need to help somebody, and people, there are people would tell me, "Oh, don't help her or don't help him. He's not a good person." Blah blah blah. But I feel the need to help him. Then I realize, oh, maybe I'm the helper soul for this person. It doesn't matter what other people say. It matters what I feel, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So the third role is the most challenging role ever.
So
You know?
remember, right, we have the kind of relationship wherein their purpose is for you to trigger, to learn something, right? The
Yes.
second one is um the one that helps you, the one that assists you, right?
Yeah.
And now
Yes.
we're gonna talk about the third purpose. And what does that mean?
The purpose that teaches you. The purpose is to teach you. Okay, there are two types of teachers. The teacher that is, we call, that really teaches you, like a teacher in a classroom. Some people um, come into your life as a pleasant teacher. A pleasant teacher, and well, that's a good role. But most of our teachers are those who hurt us.
Wow.
Yeah, those who hurt us. You know why? Uh,
Why?
because if, for example, you go on through life and everything is just really happy, 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 then you never learn. You just do what you do every time. But then if somebody comes in and tells you and hurts you and says, this is not right, then that's the only time you listen. What am I doing wrong? Unfortunately, most of the people who come, most of the souls that we meet in this lifetime that hurt us, they teach us at the greatest lessons of our lives. And it's very hard to accept, but it's really, really true. And this is where a person can grow by leaps and bounds, if you recognize this and learn from this. So I will ask, is there anybody? I'm sure there is one, at least one person in your life. Like, I will ask you, like, you, Kurt, and everybody else. Has anybody whom you have felt deep connection with, which is most probably a soulmate, but has hurt you deeply as well?
I can only think of one person.
One
And
person.
my ex.
So what does this person what how were you hurt by this person? What hurts
Uh,
you the most?
well, of course, when we thought of separating, when we just told me that, and when I thought that our relationship is really going well, but then again, he just told me that, oh, you don't have time for me, you're so busy, you have other um, priorities in your life. So I think that's what I didn't understand. It's like something that, why? We have a lot of times together, but why did we end up like splitting? And it really hurt me a lot because I didn't
Mhm.
understand.
So okay. So what, as I've heard what you said that, tell me if I'm correct. The problem, what hurt you the most is questioning you about your time, about
Correct?
prioritizing your time.
Yes.
So is there with then he most probably is kind of pointing you to that direction. What it is about time and time management that is an issue.
Mm, yeah, it's like really the prioritization. I mean, and how do I um, use of my time wisely?
Yes. So is it something that is really a recurrence in your other aspects of your life, not only
Yeah,
in this relationship?
yeah, I think I really have some problem with time. I think I actually don't have any sense of time. That's one thing that I'm really, learning on how I can be able to manage my time, my work, juggling things around, and but I really enjoyed doing it, and yeah,
So yeah, so that's the lesson there. The lesson there is the lesson there that you need to get hurt to learn that lesson. The lesson about time management and prioritization. That's the lesson there. It's really I think I can. It's so obvious in your case. For some people, you need to do a bit more probing to really find out the core issue and the lesson that you need to learn. But for you, it's really time, and it hurts you because for you it's really not an issue, but for them, for your partner, it was an issue. And because that partner was teaching you that lesson. That's the purpose of your of the of the lesson. The best way to learn is
it's,
to learn what? Yes?
so my ex is my teacher because
Yes,
he's
the exit.
teaching me about time. Oh, okay, I get it
Okay.
now.
Okay. So he might be a divine mate, Kurt, because he is you identified him as a divine mate. He's a divine mate. He's your lover, and his purpose was to teach you about this, about time management. Do you
Yeah,
now get it?
yeah,
Okay.
getting it.
The thing is, before this happened, I'm sure there were like symptoms of it. This is how the universe works. First, the universe throws pebbles at you, and that will kind of manifest as a bit of argument every now and then. And then, if you didn't get the lesson, the universe will throw rocks at you. And then the arguments become a bit, let's say, bigger. And then the universe will throw stones, like bigger stones at you. And the arguments blow up, but you can still resolve them and you haven't learned the lesson. And then now the universe said, you're not learning. You're in your script, you need to learn this through this person, you're not listening. So the universe will throw a big boulder. I think that's what happened. A big boulder to you for you just to get hurt and say, "Oh shit, what happened?" I'm sorry for the word. What happened? Now you got the universe or God got your attention. And through me, I'm your helper soul. Through me and this I think this soul relationship talk, you are now learning the lesson so that it won't happen again.
Right,
Okay?
definitely.
So in all of these in a teacher, it's quite sad that you need to get hurt and you need to go into disagreements, lessons, you need to separation or loss, or to get into annoyance and anger to teach you and to help you grow. It's quite sad, but the key to that is before you get angry at someone, or before there's a loss of there's loss or separation, you get the meaning, like you get the lesson. Even in the first trickle of the pebble, you stop and get the lesson already, and then that's it. You don't need to go to that level where you need to get hurt. And when you get that lesson, what happens is the purpose of the soul has been served. You're now able to set free with this person and relate with them in a different way. Now you have a choice in relating with this person. Chances are, if you commission them that, oh, that's the only purpose you have in my life, then they might go and do something else, but they will exit peacefully. Or this is and actually that's where we get stuck sometimes. But there is a leniency in the sense that when we get the lesson early, we might enjoy this relationship more, because we are now recognizing them by the purpose that they have been served, and that you feel grateful, right? You feel grateful, like, oh, this person taught me like this, and I'm grateful for them. There's no room now for resentment, for anger, for, those pain, bitterness, and all. Don't you think so? If you recognize that the people who hurt you, actually, you should be feeling grateful because they're teaching you. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I actually agree. Yeah, it's really sinking in my head right now that yeah, maybe that's really the main purpose of what really happened.
Okay, so in any soul relationship, soulmate, divine mate, twin flame, whatever purpose that they play, um, there is a tendency to get attached to the person, and if you are seeing it in a human level, but in the soul level, when you see them as the roles that they play and the purpose that they serve to you, you now become, you evolve as well, you grow as well, because in the human level, when you're attached to a person, like, for example, in a lover, you become complacent. When you're married, you become complacent, you stop growing, and then we linger in relationships that doesn't serve you anymore. That's what happens. But if you
Why do
see
we?
them, yes, Kurt,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead.
So, but why do we linger? I mean, yeah. Why do we stop growing?
Well, it's because it's easy, convenient. It gives us a sense of false security and safety. It's a security blanket from our uncertainties in life. Actually, it's an illusion. So we linger and let them hang on for months, years, decades, or even lifetimes. But there comes a time that our soul employs an exit plan. So by the twist of fate, you are forced to separate through distance, conflicts, or even unforeseen misfortunes. That's how it goes. Like, a soul sometimes has an expiration date, and you yourself, when you co-written it with God, put it there for a purpose. It's either this person needs to learn something for somebody with somebody else, or that you have to relate with another person, another soul, for another learning. So when we get attached to a person, there is a backup plan. I said the script is very comprehensive. So we have employ an exit plan. And the exit plan involves, a divine intervention, like a misfortune. Suddenly, this person goes to another country. Suddenly there is a great conflict or issue that's unavoidable, that's coming from the outside, making you separate. So that's how it works when you become attached.
Wow.
And you don't see that at the human level, but when you're in the soul level, you recognize that, oh, this soul has to go. So it's easier for you to let go, and it's easier for you to forgive, right? You can now
Right.
go, you can now separate peacefully. Unlike before, the only separation is through resentment, through anger. Okay. Um, Going back to the teacher relationship, when the lesson has been learned, it brings an unmistakable, that it's learned because it gives you peace. You know that the it's a period. True. It's unmistakable. And all the people that I've coached a teacher and this kind of roles, a teacher and a soul in a teacher role, when the forgiveness happens, the soul has been learned, there is like a peace, a certain sense of it's finished. That's it. It's like a morning after the rain kind of feeling. I mean, it's hard to describe, but that's the feeling. Um, So it's either they get this person, the teacher person, can either get out of your space or still have a relationship with you, but and give you a joyful experience.
So if there are a lot of bad things happen in this kind of relationship, what can we do to give it an opportunity to have a joyful experience after?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Diba? If bad things happen, well, how can you have joy after that? And the only answer to that is we forgive. That's the only answer. It's easier said than done, but that's the only way to heal a relationship. It's true forgiveness. And I would like to share to everyone an exercise that was taught to me by my spiritual teachers. That could help you forgive a soul relationship that's turned into sour. And I call it a forgiveness exercise. So do you want to, I will teach it, I will teach it, Kurt, to you, Kurt, and share it to everyone. Are you ready, Kurt,
So
for this forgiveness
I'm ready.
exercise? Okay, so um, think of a person that you feel that you are ready to forgive. Now you've learned the lesson of time. Are you do you feel you're ready to forgive?
Yes, I feel I'm ready to forgive.
Okay, so first is you connect to your concept of divine, whoever that be. It may be a beam of light. It can be an image of Jesus, Buddha, or God, or ever. So you connect to that. How do you connect? It's just think of them. Think of them or say prayers. And then put your hands in your heart. Usually the left hand is better to put in your heart and say namaste. Namaste means I salute the divinity in you, which is a term where you uh, to recognize and you're addressing not the physical person, you're addressing the soul of the person. That's why namaste. And name of the person, like for example, namaste, Mae, I salute the divinity in you. Okay. So as you inhale, you gently be aware of your back from the lower back, and then be aware of this certain air or energy going up to the crown, and you push the energy to the crown and you exhale slowly. Again, like inhale, be aware of your back, push it up to the crown and exhale slowly. Okay? Do it again. Inhale, be aware of the back going up to the crown of your head and push the exhale. Next, still with your hand in your heart, say, I forgive you. Go in peace. You are released. People make mistakes as I have made my own mistakes. I have learned from my mistakes. So can you. God's peace and love be with me. God's peace of love be with me. I completely forgive you. I completely release you. Go in peace. Namaste. Okay? So imagine a cord being cut between you and the person. It's like, and then exhale and feel the energy being released. I will run it again for everybody. Connect to your concept of God. Put your hands in your heart and say, Namaste. I salute the divinity in you. Inhale gently and be aware of your back. And imagine energy from your back to the crown of your head. Exhale. Push the energy to the crown and exhale. And say, I forgive you. Go in peace. You are released. People make mistakes as I have made my own mistakes. I have learned from my mistakes. So can you. God's peace and love be with me. God's peace of love be with you. I completely forgive you. I completely release you. Go in peace. Master. Imagine a cord being cut between you and the person. Inhale and exhale. Feel the energy being released. So, how do you feel, Kurt?
I actually feel better. And how can I say this? And actually, taking just deep breath is it's really something that I never thought of thinking about forgiving. And it's kind of good to have that kind of experience, and that feel that the feeling of real forgiveness is something. It's really different. So it's really nice.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy that you have that experience, Kurt. And that's how we build our better world. We connect by seeing the divinity or the soul of each person, knowing their purpose, learning the lesson, healing by forgiving, and detaching in peace. That is the very essence why I'm sharing this talk about soul relationships. If only our eyes saw souls instead of bodies, how different our ideals of beauty would be, right?
Right.
Isn't
That's
that
correct.
true? So I hope you're able to get something out of this. So I'm giving this talk to share to the world that there's a new way to have our relationships. Our advocacy to spread love by teaching people how to love one another. So, and if you find value in it and wish one of your relationships may benefit from listening to this, invite them again in the next two scheduled dates. We have next two scheduled dates.
Right.
And this talk is actually also recorded. So it will be shared as well, so that it could spread. The consciousness will be spread to other people as well. So how
Thank you,
so
mate.
Kurt,
Yeah, thank
thank
you,
you.
mate. And then I really learned a lot from this. And I know for sure, our participants loved it too. And this was really a soul enriching experience for me. And more than that, it's really, a good, aware. I've been aware, and thank you for that, for this time to help me be aware of these things.
Okay, so thank you, Kurt, for making this fun and interesting. I know it's really hard to explain soul relationships, but with your help, we were able to um, like share it in a way that I hope that people can understand. And
Right.
I think it's time for it's obvious who's the winner is.
The raffle.
Yes.
Oo nga. Parang feeling ko I have the idea.
Okay. So go Kurt. Who's the winner? You know that you're ano.
Yeah, he's very active. So congratulations, Elo Palma. Ayan.
Yes, congratulations. So you now have a
Elo Palma.
soul reading session with me. Thank you for sticking by. And yeah, let's do this again, Kurt. I know
Sure.
it's very interesting. Yeah. And I encourage people right now to tell it to other people. And I'm planning to do a soul relationship retreat as well. And as I said, I might not be available so much in the next coming months and years in the Philippines. So get it while you can. Get it while you can. It's fresh here in Manila. So thank you, Kurt. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, May,
And
for
I'm happy
inviting.
to share something. Yeah, okay. So see you again soon. Thank you, everybody. I love you all. Namaste.
Yay!
Yeah, and I will kind of leave a song. Syempre, kailangan may song at this is the song. Do you know that song, Kurt?
Ano yan?
Shadows I see your light. You come to me out of my dreams across
Okay.
the
It's also another song about the soulmate. For Always by Lara Fabian and Josh Vega. Good night, everybody.
Take care,
Bye-bye.
everyone. See you soon.
You may be so many stars